Hey guys, welcome back to another one of our plant-based films. I hope that you guys have been well and I hope that you're hungry because today we have 5 vegan recipes and each one of them takes 15 minutes or less. I find that at the start of the year, as we get used to new routines, we don't have a lot of time to cook and prepare our meals. So I'm always trying to create speedy recipes that tick all of the boxes, healthy, easy to make and most of all delicious. I'm glad that you're joining us today because you're going to be in for a real treat. Please help us out by subscribing and turning on the notifications, and we would love to hear your comments. And with that, let's get started. Guys, I love bruschetta. It's one of my favorite Italian foods, so today I want to show you guys a recipe that I actually love so much. We're going to keep this under 15 minutes, but I feel like this bruschetta is anything but simple tasting. You'll see. To start off, scoop out some vegan spreadable cream cheese into a bowl. Add in 1 teaspoon of dried oregano and 1 teaspoon of thyme. Season it with some salt and black pepper and mix it all together. Now we're going to prepare a delicious sweet and sour tomato mixture. Mince out 3 garlic cloves and slice a punnet of cherry tomatoes in halves or quarters. I'm using different coloured tomatoes here to give it an aesthetic look. Transfer the tomatoes into a bowl and pour in 1.5 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, half a tablespoon of maple syrup, the minced garlic, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If you're a fan of balsamic vinegar, you can sub the apple cider vinegar with it, which is what I sometimes do. Adjust it according to taste. For the bread, I used some rye sourdough, which I cut into thick slices diagonally. I toast them on the griddle pan for a bit. You can use your toaster, but these were too big for mine. As they're toasting, chop up some fresh basil leaves. Now let's assemble them. This is my favorite part. Generously spread the vegan mixed herb cream cheese onto the bread. The cheese will nicely balance out the intensity of the tomato mixture. Scoop the tomatoes on top, then spoon some of that beautiful dressing over. Then sprinkle the basil leaves, sea salt, and if you want to, you can drizzle over more olive oil and balsamic vinegar. And there you go guys, this is one of my favorite meals to make ever. It's so flavorful, so delicious, and it's pretty healthy too. These jackfruit tacos are the ultimate 15-minute meal. They're healthy, beautiful tasting, and great to share with your family or roommates. They're perfect for both weekends and weeknights. We're going to use some red cabbage, which I think works really well with the hoisin marinade that we're using for the jackfruit, but you can definitely substitute this with some green cabbage or even use any leafy garden salad you have. Then slice up some cucumber sticks. The cucumber will give a much needed burst of freshness throughout the tacos. And while we're there, let's slice up some green jalapenos. You can sub this for pickled ones too. Dice up some spring onions and coriander. At the sink, we're going to open the can of jackfruit and drain the water from them. I'm using a new brand of jackfruit today and I was surprised to see how pink it was. The other can that I usually use, the jackfruit, is white. It actually looks like salmon here, so I'm actually thinking of some salmon recipes I should try to veganize. Anyway, give it a rinse with some cold water to wash off the brine. Transfer the jackfruit into a pan over medium heat and measure out a 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce. As the jackfruit is heating up, sprinkle over a 1/4 teaspoon of Chinese 5 spice and saute to bring out the flavors. Then pour in the hoisin sauce. Stir to combine, and when the jackfruit is tender, use a fork to mash it and separate the jackfruit strands. We are pretty much done with the recipe. How easy was that, guys? But before we get to serving, I like to toast up my tacos on the sandwich press or grill. It gives the really nice charred markings on the tacos. Serve the wraps on plates and serve a small piece of jackfruit. Then lay out the cabbage, cucumber, and sprinkle over some spring onions and coriander on top. As always, if there's a lot of Asian flavorings in my dishes, I love to sprinkle some sesame seeds as well. For more flavouring, you can smear some extra hoisin sauce onto the tacos itself, and don't forget the jalapenos and a squeeze of lemon or lime. As some of you guys might have guessed, I took some inspiration from the classic Chinese duck pancakes with the hoisin and cucumber. I love both recipes and I'll show you guys a vegan version of that soon. If you are looking for a more hearty meal that's quick to make, then this chickpea scramble bowl was made for you. Ultra healthy, filling and yummy, this bowl can serve as breakfast, lunch or dinner. Let's begin by dicing up 1 brown onion and slicing up 3 to 4 garlic cloves. You don't have to mince it, but you can if you want to. While you're at the chopping board, slice up some white button mushrooms as well. You can sub this for other mushrooms too. Then drain 2 cans of chickpeas, leaving a tiny bit of aquafaba inside. Transfer the chickpeas into a bowl and using a potato masher or fork, mash up the chickpeas while leaving some whole. Since we're trying to make these recipes under 15 minutes, this is why I'm using canned, but if you have more time and prefer to use dried chickpeas, go for it. Season the chickpeas with your favourite spices. I used half a teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and a sprinkle of sea salt and some black pepper. Mix the spices throughout the mashed chickpeas, then let's cook everything up. In a pan, heat up some olive oil over medium-high heat. Add in the garlic and onions and saute until they're soft and translucent. Add in the mashed chickpeas and cook for 3 to 4 minutes before adding in the white button mushrooms. Cook until the mushrooms are to your liking. Sometimes I do like to leave them on the rawer side. Also, feel free to add any leftover veggies you have in the pan too. Sometimes I like to throw in a handful of frozen veggie mix just to bump up my veggie servings. Serve the chickpeas into a bowl. Add in a handful of garden greens, some halved cherry tomatoes, and a sprinkle of coriander or parsley. This dish works really well with any dressing that you have, but for something quick yet healthy and delicious, dress the salad and the chickpea smash with some apple cider vinegar. Garnish with a wedge of lemon, and there you go guys, this chickpea scramble bowl is an incredibly healthy and easy meal to make. I love noodles and I love salads, so why not combine them together? This 15-minute Vietnamese-inspired vermicelli noodle is refreshing and super tasty. We're going to prepare the vermicelli noodles first. I bought the dried type, so we're going to fill up a pot and boil the water. You can substitute this with any other thin noodles you like. I think soba noodles would work really nicely here. At the chopping board, peel and mince 2 garlic cloves. I recommend mincing over using a garlic press here, and mince a bird's eye chili. You can scrape out the seeds if you want to. When the water has boiled, drop in the vermicelli noodles. These guys cook super fast, so we're going to stand by checking the noodles every 15 to 30 seconds. The brand that I'm using takes about 2 minutes to cook. When they're done, drain the noodles and run cold water through them. Make sure to dry the noodles thoroughly because we don't want watery, soggy noodles. This is why I like to prepare the noodles first, so there's time for the water to drain out. Otherwise, you can place a tea towel over the top to help drain the excess water. This kind of dressing is really common in Vietnamese cuisines. I love it so much because it's flavorful and so easy to make. There are different variations of it. Usually it's a combination of soy sauce, chili, lime juice, minced garlic and a tiny little bit of sugar. I will be sharing with you guys these different types of sauces across my videos, so keep an eye out for them. In a bowl or a jar, pour in 5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 5 tablespoons of water to dilute its intensity, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, the finely minced garlic cloves, and mix. Add in 1 teaspoon of coconut sugar. You can adjust this to taste and let it dissolve, and then add in the minced bird's eye chili. This is optional, but it adds in a nice colour and beautiful touch of spice to the dressing. Squeeze in some lime juice and give it a taste test. A lot of the times I just eyeball these kind of dressings and sauces, so feel free to add more or less of any of the ingredients. Peel 2 medium carrots and finely grate them. You can use the larger grater hole too to produce larger carrot pieces. Then slice 3 cups of white or green cabbage and slice some green spring onions. Next, let's chop up some coriander. If you're not a fan of coriander, you can substitute this for some parsley. And with the Asian mung bean sprouts, there's not much to do besides washing them. Okay, now let's put it all together. Firstly, add in the vermicelli noodles and try to separate the strands with your hands as best you can before adding in the veggies. In hindsight, it would have been a good idea for me to add a little bit of each thing and then toss it because it was kind of a struggle. As I'm doing this, I remember my mum making these kind of salads for a family gathering, and because she made so much food, she rarely used a tiny salad bowl like this for tossing. Instead, she would buy these really big tubs, one that my dogs would probably be able to fit in, and she would toss the salad in there. Anyway, you should get this beautiful mixture of white noodles amongst some green and orange. Now it's time to dress the salad with the delicious soy sauce dressing we made, and let's be quite generous because it really brings the entire dish together. I like to then garnish the bowl with some sesame seeds, which helps bring out the sesame oil we added into the dressing earlier, and some fried shallots. Before eating, squeeze in some lime juice, and I love to cut up some extra chili on top. And so here you go guys, this is one of my favourite salads to eat. It's so beautiful on its own as lunch or dinner, but also great as a side, especially with some spring rolls, I reckon. This rainbow kale pasta salad is going to brighten your mood and tummy. This one is a regular in our household. As always, let's start by preparing the pasta. Salt a pot with water and let the water come to a boil. We're making a pomegranate molasses based dressing today, so pour in 3 tablespoons of pomegranate molasses, 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and half a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Mix together with a fork until the mustard has dissolved, then season with some salt and black pepper. Adjust this according to your taste, and sometimes you might need to add in less or more maple syrup depending on how sweet your bottle of pomegranate is. Also, feel free to turn it into a vinaigrette-like dressing by adding in 1/3 cup of olive oil. I didn't mind the intensity, so I just added in less dressing per pasta, but if you like your pasta quite saucy, definitely add in the olive oil so you can add more dressing. Once that is done, let's move on to the salad. Cut kale leaves into bite-sized pieces, and since we're making this a colourful dish, I used a mixture of purple and green kale. We're going to coat the kale with a simple garlic and olive oil dressing. So peel and mince 4 garlic cloves and add them into a jar. Pour in 1/4 cup of olive oil and mix together. Dress it all over the kale, and the olive oil should soften the toughness of the kale leaves a bit. If you do prefer your kale cooked, you can definitely saute the kale leaves with the oil and garlic. Grab a pan and let's toast some crushed almonds. You can omit if going nut-free or substitute with other nuts such as walnuts or even sunflower or pumpkin seeds. Toast the almonds over medium heat until it's golden brown. The best thing about toasting nuts is that you don't have to add in any extra oil. The nuts usually release their natural oils, which is great. Now let's go back to the pasta. Since we're making a rainbow pasta salad today, I'm using pasta that's been made with beetroot and spinach powder. Cook until they're al dente and then drain the pasta. You can rinse it with water if you feel like it'll go past it when it's in the colander. When everything is ready, add the pasta into the kale bowl. I learnt from last time, so add in small handfuls of pasta at a time and toss it until we use up all the pasta. To complement the sweetness of the dressing, add in 1 cup of cranberries and sprinkle over half a cup of nutritional yeast. Toss to combine. Serve this delicious rainbow kale salad to a plate or bowl. Garnish with the toasted almonds and dress over the sauce. Decorate with some slices of lemon. And here you go guys, this is such a delicious and wholesome rainbow kale pasta salad that you're going to love on a busy weeknight or day. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. We put a lot of effort into making these and we love sharing the filming and food with you guys. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, a comment and subscribe. Thank you again guys, and we'll see you next time.